Well, hello there. Welcome back, everyone. Time for a little update, I guess. I've just come back from a week and a bit's holiday in Holland. Been over visiting Amsterdam, The Hague, and various other things, and been to Holland's version of Alton Towers for the kids to play with all their play on all the rides and the water slides and all that kind of stuff. Excuse me while I trip over. Oh, this is my latest project with number one son. We're building a Nerf gun rack on this pegboard stuff, and then we're going to hang it up on his wall. This is about 10% of his Nerf collection. But anyway, back to the fish. So, I just got back today and obviously need to check out the fish tank, so I thought I'd take you through how all the fish tanks and the fish are doing since I've been away, and kind of the preparations I do for when I go away. So if this is your first time here, click that subscribe button and the little notification bell icon. You won't miss any other videos in future. And let's get to looking around. So we'll start up here since we're in here already. We'll start with the big marine tank. So really this one's done quite well. We've got a little bit of algae and dirtiness down here on the glass as well as on the sand down there. The fish look happy enough. They're doing quite well. The water level's dropped a little bit. As you can see, I don't have an auto top off running on this tank. But all the fish are there, all the corals are there. Everything looks quite happy. Little fish tank next to it, which was the latest one I'd just set up. We'll turn the lights back on. You may have seen all the fish scarpering there, but the carpet's come on well. All the fish are still alive. All the shrimp, from what I can tell, are still alive. Can't see any dead bodies anyway. The only thing, well, it's not even a thing as such, but this is some of the carpeting plant. It's just kind of floated away and gathered in a ball there. But yeah, everything's happy enough in here. So we'll move over to the other marine nano tank. Ugh. This is a bit of a disaster. Now there's only one fish in here. It's one little clownfish, and as you can see, he's in there and he's still alive and happy, and the corals themselves, if you can see any of them, are still going strong, but it's caked in algae. I don't know whether this light's been stuck on and that's caused that, or if it's just a general imbalance. I have to say, if I'm being perfectly honest, that I've struggled with this tank since day one, to the point where I'm thinking of even just giving up for a while, because I've got too much going on. I might move this guy and the rocks back into the other tank, but we'll clean it up. For now, we'll give it a chance. But everything's alright in this one, apart from the mess. Again, water level's dropped a little bit because I've not done anything for an auto top off on this one. Now these tanks, that's both this one, that one, and that one, I didn't do anything in terms of feeding. I just did big water changes before I went away and left it. I think you've got more risk often if you do use either people to come round and feed, or auto feeders and things like that. So these ones just were left on their own, and I think they did okay. So let's go and have a look at the big main display tank in the living room, where I'll probably contradict myself. Okay, here we are in the living room. This is the main Discus display tank. From what I can tell, everything's alright. It looks like we've got one casualty. Down there, there's a very mucky ball of something. I'm assuming it's a fish. Oh dear. Oh, looks like another one as well, so I need to sort that out. That's a stir by. It's still alive, but not happy. So as soon as I finish this, I'll do a big water change on there. But I'm surprised at that actually, because this tank is pretty self-sufficient. As you can see, it's got tons of filtration underneath, and it does have an auto top off, and I have used an auto feeder here, which is this one actually, which I've just broken by dropping it on the floor. But basically it's got this drum, you set it with a timer, the drum spins and it drops a few grains of food, so I set it just to lightly feed and it looks like it has been doing that. But the discus themselves, they all look okay, but one of the lights has broken. So I don't know if I've mentioned it before, but I run 2 of these lights on here, and they had both broken. There's the power supply that's gone rather than the lights themselves, so I've swapped this over with a spare power supply that I had, and that seems to have done the trick and it's working fine now. So yeah, this is alright, but there's a couple of casualties there. Actually need to get this guy and pause this and sort him out. Starting a water change, getting things going. I've just done an ammonia test, and if you can see that, it's definitely a reading. I mean, it's not massively off the scale, but there's a hint of green there. It's probably 1 part per million, and I get, if that is a dead fish in there, then that would kind of explain that, but not necessarily what killed it in the first place. So all I can really do is do this big water change and hope that sorts out the ammonia. I'll do the rest of the water tests in a minute and see if there's anything else going on. But all the bigger fish, all the discus look fine. The rest of the stairby are all accounted for. There seems to be about the same number of tetras. And so this little guy here is still breathing, but very obviously isn't happy. But if I do anything about it, if I try and move him to another tank or anything like that, I fear that will be worse than just leaving him to see if he recovers on his own, because of the stress of getting him out of this tank into another tank. It will probably finish him off, looking at the state that he's in at the moment. So water level, that's down a bit already. I'm going to drain this about, possibly about 50%, something like that, try and get a big change going. I'll take it down to about here, get it filled back up, and hopefully the little guy recovers. I'm just going to take the, I have a strainer on. I have a strainer on the end of the hose here to stop me sucking up fish, but take that off so as I can do a bit of a gravel back, even though it's sand. Starting or finishing the water change, filling it back up now. I pulled out about 3 cardinals as well as the decomposing body. I mean, look at all these guys. Like vultures sitting staring at this poor stairby aquarium waiting for them to die. Anyway, so I pulled out about 3 of the cardinals. I don't know if maybe the discus have eaten any more, if some of them have gone. So there's definitely a problem. So there is some ammonia in the tank. There is a little bit of nitrite in the tank as well, so I think there's possibly been a bit of a crash that's happened. Don't entirely know what, but until we figure it out, I'm just going to add some of this, which is Cichlid Safe. It's the powder form of Prime. What this does is it detoxifies any ammonia and nitrites for 24 or 48 hours. So until we figure out what the problem is and get it solved, that should help. So while that fills back up, let's go and look at the rest of the tanks. So in the fish room, here we are. Everything at first glance looks okay. As we can see, my friendly puffer's still here and still doing well. Everything in this tank looks okay. A little bit of algae, as we said, but I have noticed something going on with this Tomasi cichlid. Let me see if I can get a better shot. So, I'm not sure I can get a better shot in at the moment, but I'll try and edit something in afterwards. But basically, it looks like the front half of his face is missing, but it doesn't look like it's been ripped off or bitten off. Because obviously my first thought is that it's this guy, he's done that, but they've been in here well over a month now together. They've not shown any signs of, if anything, the aggression has been towards the puffer from the Tomasi cichlid. He keeps bullying him, and he doesn't show any sort of retaliation or anything like that. But I've watched them for hours and hours. I think it's just the cichlid saying, "This is my area, get out," type of thing. And the puffer lives in this group of rocks down here, and the Tomasi usually lives over there underneath that bit of wood. There is a quite large, maybe 11-12 inch black ghost knife fish in there as well. He's fine, he looks good. He's been out a second ago, but has now gone into hiding. But yeah, I don't know if there's some kind of disease issue with this fish. I don't think it's been bitten by the puffer. But yes, something we'll need to keep an eye on there. It's quite concerning. It looks quite, I mean, it doesn't look red and sore or anything like that, but it's an obvious deformity that's there. So I'm not sure what's going on there. This tank, for feeding while I was away, I was quite worried about the puffer, so I just collected, as horrific as it might sound, collected a load of cherry shrimp, kind of culls that I had, and a load of snails, and it distracted him at one end, threw all the snails and the shrimp in around the place, gave them a chance to get hidden in amongst all the vegetation and the rocks and the wood, hoping that he'd be able to pick at them for at least a few days, if not the whole week that I was away. But he seems quite happy. He's up at the glass saying hello straight away, as he usually is. Grabensis, fine, no death in that tank. This is the snail breeding tank, and also now a tadpole tank. The kids found some tadpoles and wanted somewhere to put them. So there's a couple of tadpoles in there. I'll see if I can get some shots of them later. I've got my betta in this tank. He's looking thin but okay. I didn't feed him while I was away, but I was giving him some food and he was happy enough. I chucked in half a courgette into the bristlenose breeding tank about an hour ago, and it's pretty much gone already, and the water's all cloudy because they've chomped it all up. But everything looks happy in there. I've had a scout around, can't see any problems, can't see any bodies anywhere or anything like that, so they look okay. And I've got my kind of two guppy and shrimp tanks. Yep, and they look fine too. No bodies there, no issues that I can see. Plenty of moss and plant growth going on in there. Over here we've got the rainbow tank. Again, the livestock look fine. This has just got 4 rainbows and some shrimp in it, and it's still got 4 rainbows and some shrimp, but it's now also got lots of hair algae, so that needs some attention at some point. I did count a whole bunch of shrimp earlier on, but I can't see any now to show you. You'll have to trust me on that one, they are in there. Yeah, so I need to work out what's going wrong. There's an imbalance here somewhere with the light, probably, and the nutrients in the water, which is affecting all this algae growth. And then up here we just got some, again, guppy and shrimp tanks. Just started clearing some of these out. There's nothing in that one at the moment. That was where the black betta was living. More guppies. Just moved some fish out of that, so nothing in there at the moment. And this is the one I'm a bit devastated about. That is my oldest betta. And this is the one that likes to play dead, but this time I think it's terminal. And I'm a bit gutted about that, so I need to get a body out of there. He was a good 2 years old, if not more, but still, he's one of my favourite fish, so I'm a little bit upset about that. I didn't have any auto feeders on any of the tanks in here, so it's probably worth talking about that a little bit. My kind of general feeling about auto feeders is that I feel that they might go wrong more often than not, and if that turns out to be the problem with the tank upstairs, I've kind of proved myself right that I shouldn't have put an auto feeder on there. But I do like to use them when I'm here, because then I can check and see what's going on, because it does regulate how much food that you're putting into the tanks, especially with pellets. I think they work really well with pellets. With flakes, they tend to gum up a bit, I've found, especially the ones I use anyway. And well, even frozen food, you can't really use them with them either. So I tend to steer away with them. My regime for whenever I go away is just to do some really big water changes the day before I go. Kind of feed them up a couple of days before I go, big water change on the night before or the day of leaving, and then that's it, just leave them to it. Like I said, this tank I put in some live food, some snails and some shrimp, just to keep them going, so they would have been alive in the tank as well, and that seems to have done the trick. And the only tank I left an auto feeder on was the display tank, which is where I've had a few deaths in there. Luckily not any of the discus, but still. So that's pretty much it for the update. Just whether or not this puffer has bitten the face off my cichlid, or if it's something else. I'm sure I can make a clickbait title out of that anyway. So there you go, that's the update from coming back. Don't think I've got any more fish tanks hiding anywhere. Not the most successful of fish room updates, I suppose, but I like to show you the bad as well as the good. It's not all sweetness and light here. So yeah, something looks like someone's eating his face off in there, but I'm not. I just don't know what's going on there. I think it's got to be disease rather than fighting from the puffer. He is still eating, which is commendable since he hasn't really got a mouth anymore. But I'll monitor it for now, but it's not looking good. Lost a couple of sterbai and a few cardinals and the big display tank upstairs. Again, not really sure what's going on there. If I figure it out, I will update you, so definitely make sure you click that subscribe link and check out the next video. Hopefully we'll have some more answers for you. But for now, we'll bid you adieu. Bye bye.